What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
And LeVon Maynard.
Hey, welcome to the show.
What's going on? For those who were not going to be able to see what just happened, it took me like 4 times to get through the intro, but I'm going to cut all that out. Thank you for tuning in. I know we've been gone for a few weeks now because we're on holiday, but we are back now. Please tune into yesterday's episode where we talk about USB drive that was containing 460,000 Japanese residents' data wound up missing. So we go into detail on that. Then obviously we have another topic today, and then Wednesday we have a discussion. So tune into that one, and then Fridays we talk about everything else. So movies, books, TV, all that good stuff, non-cyber related, right? So definitely hit us up throughout the week. Without further ado, I give it to Shannon.
All right. So this article comes from the print .com, print.in.com, which is India. And it's written by, I'm going to try to get this down, Aditi Chaturvedi and Priyesh Mishra. Hope that didn't butcher your names too bad, fellas. Or lady and fellow, I'm sorry. And the title of the article is Exit of VPNs, just the beginning. CERT-In's cybersecurity rules will affect many players. So CERT-In, right? Excuse me. So CERT-In is the Indian Computer Emergency Response Team, right? So the Computer Emergency Response Team, IN India. And so what they've done over there, right, is they just passed a law with an incident reporting timeline. And so what it caused is that some of the major VPN providers, your Surfshark, NordVPN, ExpressVPN, they withdrew their servers from India over this because one of the things they had in there was a reporting timeline that was very aggressive, right, of 6 hours. And also they had directives that would that kind of went against some of the privacy stuff they're trying to protect, right? So like they want to get logs that have, people that have been logging in using their services and things of that nature. And the companies are like, no, that's not, that defeats the purpose of the VPN, really. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what we're there for. But India's like, hey, this is what we want if you want to operate in our country, right? So the companies pulled their servers and they're like, no, we're not going to do business with you anymore. And again, the aggressive timeline for reporting, the 6 hours anytime you have a cybersecurity incident, was something that was also it caused a little bit of consternation with them, right? Another thing they said that they have in here is that they actually want people to report attempted intrusions, right? So not necessarily successful, like if you have a successful cybersecurity incident that goes with you, but just the attempt. And like as many as that go on and get thwarted, like that's just, you would have to have a whole team just for reporting at that point, right? If you're going to do this. And it's just one of those things where the US companies are not happy with this. Like they don't like having to deal with that. So they're like, we'll take our business elsewhere type thing. Now, to a certain degree, I agree. 6 hours is a little aggressive, right? I'll give you that, to have to report something, right? Because you still have to do your due diligence in trying to stop the attack if it's still ongoing. There's things you have to get and figure out how they got in. Like the investigation is what I'm thinking about. So different things to investigate, but some of these industry leaders, they're thinking 72 hours should be the time frame they get, and I think that's a little bit too long. Like I don't like 72 hours as a number, even though I think 6 hours is a little aggressive. Like me, I would say closer to 24 at that point, right? Now again, I think the reason they had this consternation with this is because from a business standpoint, we talk about this all the time, how the cybersecurity departments just aren't large as they should be, right, in the way that our environment is. So that's kind of the gist of the story here. Whether or not anything will change, we'll see, because India could always come back and be like, all right, well, we changed our mind, right? Because you got to think about it. India's got over 1 billion people over there, right? Second largest country in the world, China, then India, right? So it's just one of those things where they may say, okay, well, we'll work with you on some things. Maybe it doesn't need to be 6 hours, but we don't want 72. Maybe it'll be 24. Maybe it'll be 48. But we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But LeVon, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, man, you covered it very well. But I was going to say that you were commenting on how India gets cyber attacked. Now, I see in the article they mentioned that it's actually the third most cyber attacked country in the Asia Pacific, according to IBM's Securities Threat Intelligence Index of 2022. And he also mentions that that there's been more than 1.6 million cybersecurity incidents reported in India as of February 2022. So it's definitely like a big target. It's and as you described it, I mean, it's kind of like a balance between, I don't know, I know we talked about it before in some other podcasts, but it kind of balancing the security maybe of the country and the privacy of individuals. You have that kind of like Big Brother type scenario where people are kind of looking and trying to find those terrorists or hackers or whoever by getting access to these like private databases or VPN connections and stuff like that, trying to be able to look into the logs. But the VPN that's pretty much what most people use it for, is to not have the data tracked, not have their information shared. I mean, I know people do use VPNs for nefarious reasons as well. But at the same time, we want to have some people to have their privacy. So it's kind of like a balance there. So it's so hard to like really define, to really like say, nobody should ever be able to look into some information if like some I don't know, we have like people that are into like child pornography, people that are obviously like hackers, and people that are using it for intel, and like you may have like Russian hackers or state actors that are trying to hack into United States using VPNs, things like that. So it's like you have all these ne'er-do-wells, or these people that should not be using these services for what they're using them for, taking advantage of that privacy, that obscurity. But being able to track that would be nice for these cybersecurity companies. But then you got people like us that just want to use it to have some privacy, not to be spied upon, or if we're like in a hotel network, we don't want to have our information on their network available to be viewed or whatever. They can try to hack into our privacy for unknown reasons. But it's very interesting that India's going through this effort to make sure that they have access. I actually use NordVPN, so I know if I was using my services, I wouldn't want to have them India having access to view my content or whatever, look at the logs to see what I've been connecting to, because like you mentioned, that's the whole point of the VPN. And the timelines, like you mentioned, I think those are pretty strict, especially if they're also trying to record every incident, even if it's been blocked. And those could be, I don't know, this could be in the thousands, the millions. Those kind of incidents happen on a regular basis. Like I mentioned before, I put like a VM on a network in the cloud, and as soon as I put that thing up there in the cloud, if I make it like publicly accessible, like you can see attacks on it like instantly. You go into the security log, you see all these individuals trying to log in. They use like generic admin accounts and use whatever like credentials they think could potentially work. So I can imagine how many logs they may acquire from just a few of the systems online. But I'll turn it over to you, Ryan. What do you think about this subject?
Yeah, I agree. Like 6 hours is very aggressive. Like I like to see them making moves towards getting it to being a more concise timeline, especially when it comes to, like I said, critical, right? Like, so it didn't really, like the problem they have is with it's pretty ambiguous, right? They say critical systems or infrastructure. I think what they want to say is the financial sector, banking, and oil pipelines, and yeah, medical, your electric grids, things of that nature. But they kind of blanket it to everybody. So I think that's the biggest problem. And then yeah, like when it comes to the VPN situation, I can definitely see them pulling chalks, because you're in breach of contract with your customers at that point. Like the whole point is to obscure your data. Because I mean, all I use it for is to watch Netflix, you know what I mean, or Disney Plus. But I'm paying for that privacy so I can get to those things from the current country that I'm in, right? Because some stuff is blocked that I would be able to access if I was in the States. So So there is that bounce snack. Like those companies aren't going to come back unless this changes. And I doubt it's going to change because once you start um, this machine, it's going to be hard to pull it back. So I don't see these changes happening. Timelines may adjust. So I saw France had something similar. It was like 7 hours. And then a lot of companies are complaining, saying that it takes at least 24 hours to classify the incident and then 72 hours to then be able to put it out there. Because like Shannon said, teams are small. Um, and then you have to think about also from a company's perspective, you have shareholders and things of that nature. So you kind of want to be able to get ahead of the information. So if I'm giving it to you within 6, the board doesn't even know about it. Or if the board does know about it, they haven't put together a tight, concise message to their shareholders or to the public to retain that trust, right? So I can see there's going to be some consternation. It may need to slow down a little bit, but 72 hours is a long time as well. So like the 24 or 36, I think would be more appropriate. But I'm not in charge of every company's cybersecurity team, right? So it could be 2 people, it could be 200 people, for all I know. But then on the other hand, like how is CERT-India going to be able to gather all this information and make heads or tails of it? Like they don't have I would assume that they don't have a team of 2,000 people. Because if you are a Facebook, a Twitter, an Amazon, or a Google, you're getting tagged every minute on the minute. So like, how are they going to parse through that data? Like, it doesn't even make sense to me. Because if I'm reporting it, like if I'm spending the money to hire the people to be on the teams to give you the information, and then you do nothing with it, then I'm going to have a problem with that. So I think there needs to be some adjustments. Like they came in kind of hard, swinging for the fences. They might have to dial that back just a little bit, or at least put the companies on notice that need to be on notice, right? Like if you're a oil and gas, or like you said, a hospital or something like that, then yeah, you need to be on this list. But if you're not, just mom and pop store, then no, I don't need to report within 6 hours.
So something you just said. So like I would hope it's not all for naught, right? Like if they're going to do this and run the risk of losing business, an American business, we don't mind spending money for stuff, right? For services to put up in other countries, right? Like these iPhones, they ain't making them in America, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? So like I would hope that if they're going to go through this and run the risk of losing the business that's going through their country, right? That they would do something about it. They would make it worth it. So if it was all for naught, like that's just dumb on their part.
Yeah, I just don't like. Maybe there's going to be, maybe there's already been put in, or there's going to be put in some automated service, because a human being cannot process this much information. Like it's just not going to be possible. Like if you're saying like every single attempt, like there's an attempt every single minute, if not sooner, like every single second for some companies.
Sooner than that, yeah,
Mm.
it's
So how are you going to log this? I don't get it. Like but I'm sure more details will come out, or they'll start dialing things back as they start to lose big business. Because if they were to lose, a major corporation because of this, I'm sure there would be some adjustments to policy. So we'll see.
So wouldn't the EU have a problem with this as well, because of like they have those 8 things that you have to do like
Oh,
whenever
the
yeah,
GDPR.
yeah. So like the EU would have a problem too with this, right? Because then you'd have to let everyone know, like, hey, okay, this is what your information is going to, and they'd be like, look, we don't even want to go through all that trouble. We'll just pull our stuff out too. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some more fallout. But we'll see. Like I'm sure that they'll pivot before they just completely cause a catastrophe with the finances. Like again, it's the foot in the door. So that's why the VPN companies left. They're like, well, it's gonna just get worse and worse. So we see what other companies start to yield, and then like, okay, well, we can't handle this amount of traffic, or we can't handle this amount of reporting, or we can't handle our customers coming at us, because now they've lost trust in the company. So we'll definitely see. But I think that pretty much wraps up for this episode. Definitely continue to tune in throughout the week. Wednesday is going to be our discussion. Hit up all of our social medias. You get me up personally. I'm at RY Security Guy. That's RY Security Guy on LinkedIn, Twitter, Clubhouse, and TikTok. And you, LeVon?
Yes, sir. You can hit me up on the Twitters at LeVon Maynard.
There it is. Stay safe, stay secure.
Take care.